Now, it's just a reminder of some of the things you need to do for the animation. I've preferred in the past go into Fireworks or something like that and prepare your images beforehand so that you end up with an assets folder with your images in. So I've done something like that. So if I just put that in there, I've already cut and done this, but I'd use the magic wand, get rid of the outside area, delete and all that sort of thing, okay? So get your images prepared first of all, even if you're going to have some text, some fancy text can be done. So again, you can have, so I'm going to call this, so let's just use a text layer. So my family and other, and in fact I'm not, my cartoon's going to be called My Space and Other Family, right? So we'll call it My Space and Other Animals. Now it's already chosen that font because that's the previous font that I chose, but I'm going to do something with it, so I'm going to do a drop shadow on it and prepare it so that's fine like that. And I'm also, so I'm going to have this as an image, so I'm now just going to maybe change the color. In fact, I'm quite happy with that color, and also add anything else that you want to do with it. Bevel emboss, so I'll have an internal bevel so it gives it a three-dimensional look. Let's try and make it rounded. So all these sort of things you can make before then they go into Flash. So I'm going to save that. So I'm going to click on the grey area, so fit canvas, so it's going to be white. I'm going to make sure the canvas is transparent, and file, save as. If you save as JPEG, it's going to have a white background regardless of whether you said transparent here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure I save it into my folder, into the assets folder. So I made, for sci-fi animation, I made an assets folder, and I'm going to call it my title text, we'll call it. Save as a PNG and it'll keep the transparency. So I click on save, and then I can come out of Fireworks. You can do exactly the same in PowerPoint, make some of those. Now, once you're happy that you've got all your assets ready, then I'm going to go into File and New, which I've already done, ActionScript 2. There's reasons for that. Some of the things like behaviors and so on work in ActionScript 2, they don't in ActionScript 3. So now I'm going to File, I'm going to import my items to library. So I'm going to fill this library in a moment. So it's preparing to import. And now I'm just going to navigate through to the same folder. Applied ICTG Unit 4, Sci-Fi. Go into my assets folder and I can import all of those ready. So into my library, there are the 4 images. I can get rid of those 3. Yeah, because I won't need those. I've had a little go previously. However, right, let's make a start with layer 1, which is going to be the planet surface. So we'll just start on frame 1, and I'm going to put the planet surface in. There we are. So it's a little large, so I'm going to zoom out to about 50%. Use the free transform tool to make this a little bit smaller. Alright, so I want to make sure it's the same width, so I'm going to go to the properties and I'm going to make it start in position x0, and I'm going to make sure that the y coordinate is 550 by 440. Oh, no I don't. I want to undo that because I don't want to stretch it. So I'm just going to make sure the width is 550. Now what that's done is, if I look at my scene, click on the grey area, go to the scene. When I made the scene, it was 550 by 400 pixels. When you do make a new scene in ActionScript 2, for example, it'll set those properties to start with 540. If you want to change them, by all means change them. But I'm quite happy with 550. But as I say, if you do want to change them, and so for example, if this does change to 600, then click OK, and then therefore make your image 600 as well, and it'll stretch accordingly. Okay, so there's my planet surface, and I'm just going to get that to do some movement now in a moment. Really, I want to get rid of that background, in fact, so I'm going to get rid of that item. Not happy with that planet surface because I want to get rid of that black area at the top. The moon's fine, the text is fine, the spaceship's fine, but the surface isn't. So let's get rid of the surface. So we've got rid of that. So I'm just going to go back into Fireworks here now, and I'm going to open files. So I'm going to meet some of these issues while I'm going on, is that the transparencies aren't quite right. So let's go to Unit 6 and Assets. Make a copy of it first of all. Alright, make a copy of it so you know it's going to be okay to work with, but then maybe I'm just going to change its size. Image, let's change it to 600 because I know it's going to be 600 in any case. Then use the magic wand or use Photoshop to get rid of that area there. Right, so I'm going to I'm going to fit the canvas so it's going to make, oh, there's something up the top there. So let me just lasso whatever's up there. I can see there's a dot there in fact. So let's get rid of everything. So now if we go to fit canvas again, oh, there's something up there. Some dots there, so let's just, so I'm just using the marquee tool. There's the offending dot up the top there. So now we've got that. And we will fit canvas, and now we're trimmed back down. So there's just this little transparent area there. So I'm now going to save that. Don't save it as JPEG because it won't have the transparency. So make sure it's a PNG first of all, and make sure then you import the correct one. So click Save. So it's kept the transparencies. Go back into into Flash, import into Library. So we'll now get, don't get the JPEG, get the Planet surface. Let's import both just so we can see the difference. And so Planet JPEG, when I put it in, has a white area there. Planet PNG doesn't have a white area there, so that's in fact the one that I want. I'm going to put that into position X coordinate 0, so it can go into that position there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get that to move down and get the moon to come up. Right? So before I do it, it's on the planet surface layer. I'm going to convert to symbol, and it's going to be P surface, we'll call it, underscore GR graphic. Click OK. Right, so that's in frame 1, and over frame 40, remember, change the frame rate to 20 or 30, whichever. 20 will be fine for how it's going to look, so I know that over a 3-second insert keyframe, I want to move that down. I'm just using the cursor key to move that down, and if I onion skin it, I can just see the position it's going to look on my stage. So that's fine over there, and let's create a classic tween. So let's see how that's going to look. So that's going to sort of move in that pattern there. Right, happy with that, and maybe just give it another second or so of frame there. Right, so I'm now going to add another layer. This time it's going to be the moon rise. So in frame 1, we'll put the moon into, here's the moon here, so I'm going to put the moon there. I'll put it in front to start with. So I'm going to put it in front to start with, but I will move this layer down so it goes behind everything. So we'll start the moon in that position. It's got to be converted to a symbol, so moon GR, so that's fine. So now over, we'll say over the same amount of seconds, 3 seconds, insert keyframe, and this moon is going to move to this sort of position here. But not only that, I'll just get it to resize a little bit. So I'm using the shift key to keep the proportions, and I'll leave it in that sort of position. Create classic tween, so that'll resize and move. Let's just put it down underneath. So let's see how that looks as we go. So there we are. So we've got a moon that's looming up over that duration, and if I go to Control, Test Movie and Flash Professional, so I've got this sort of moon rising and getting larger, and it's looping as we go through that. So there we are. That'll do for now. So we'll lock that, and now I'm going to work on the next thing is going to be my spaceship. There's my spaceship there. So I'm going to add a new layer. Let's put this on top. Spaceship. So all I'm going to have is the spaceship whizzing across the top. So we'll have to 20 seconds. So I'll insert keyframe here. So after 1 second or 20 frames, I'm going to have the spaceship come in. Spaceship's going to be off screen. I made this in PowerPoint, so quite easy to do. So I'm just going to have this whizzing across a few times. So insert keyframe. Oh, before we do, convert to symbol, spaceship underscore GR, so I know that it's a symbol. So I know that it's a graphic symbol. So over 1 second, insert keyframe. So I'm going to get that to move across the screen. So it's just going to whiz across. Insert Craig Classic Tween. And then I'm going to get rid of if I highlight those, I'm going to remove those frames because that's not going to be required anymore. If I just move these back to 20 so it can be a bit more precise, and I can get rid of that frame as well, so remove frames. So let's go and see how that looks. Control, test movie, in Flash Professional, and across comes the spaceship. And then I'm going to have another layer. Remember, this is going to have music with it as well, so I'm going to have some sort of action type. So after it's whizzed off, I'm now going to insert keyframe, and over another second, let's put this in first of all. So Spaceship GR is now going to, from that position up here, I'm just going to rotate it, and I'm now going to have it over another second, 20 frames, insert keyframe, and I'm going to have it moving down to this position, so we can right and click, create Classic Tween. Let's remove these frames, we don't need those. Then I'm going to add another layer with S-Ship 3, and from frame 60, insert keyframe, let's put the spaceship into a position here, and it's going to, at frame 80, insert keyframe, I'll move it to this position here. So create Classic Tween. So we'll have that spaceship, and this is just looking at cartoons that they have a lot of action in the first part. So there's the ship coming, one gone, and another one gone. And we would have music. I'd probably time that with a bit of music or with a bit of text. Okay. Then after that, I'm going to have the final bit that I'm going to do is title text, and I'm going to have that appear. So when we're coming from 40 maybe to 80, so insert keyframe. I'm going to put my title text in. There's my title text. So I'm going to have that appear in that position there. Let's get off the free holes. Again, that has to be a symbol. So I'm now going to call this my title text GR. Click OK. So that's now going to move into a position fairly central. So what I'm now going to do, frame 80, I'm going to have a keyframe. Right? So I'm going to put it, insert keyframe, so I'm going to move it into position maybe halfway, and I'm also going to use the free transform tool because I'm going to resize it so it's just a little larger. Let's see if that fits on the stage. Maybe I should zoom in just so I can see that a bit more accurately. So I'm going to have my space and other animals. In fact, I'll move it down just a little bit. Doesn't matter where I'm putting it, but this is in frame 80. And I'm also going to, in frame 40, properties, I'm going to give it a color property. So if I click on it, choose a style, I'm going to alpha it, and I'm going to change it to about 30%. And what you can see is it's becoming transparent. So I'm going to give its alpha property about 30%. If I want to be perfectly accurate, put 30 in. And that will then, over the Classic Tween, come into being fully opaque. All right, so control, test movie. So let's see my opening side. There we are. Spaceship, 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 and also the text comes in. All right. Add a new layer called Actions, which is a standard layer that we'd normally put in. And on frame 80, insert keyframe, click on frame 80, go to Window and Actions, and all I'm going to do in here is just type the command stop, so that will stop any looping of the cartoon. So here we are. So it's going and it'll go to 1, 2, 3, a text, and then it stops in position, and we got that ready.